Welcome, dear dreamer, to Get Sleepy Scientist, where the cosmos becomes a lullaby, and the mysteries of the universe are told in whispers meant to guide you into peace, rest, and the sweetest of sleep. Tonight, we begin a journey unlike any other, one that drifts among clouds of light and rivers of stars as we float through the most magical realms of the cosmos, the nebulas. These are the universe's pillows of light, vast, glowing, endless clouds of gas and dust where stars are born, where worlds are shaped, and where time itself seems to fall into a slow, quiet rhythm. Close your eyes now and let your imagination expand outward, past the walls of your room, past the sky of Earth, and past the shimmering embrace of our Milky Way. We are not bound tonight by gravity or by time. We are stardust, light as a whisper, carried by a cosmic breeze into the great open sea of space. And in this sea, the nebulas await, glowing, dreaming, and alive. Picture the first one we encounter, the Orion Nebula, a jewel just beneath Orion's belt, glowing faintly to the naked eye, but through the telescope, a vast cathedral of creation. Its clouds billow like velvet curtains pulled across the sky, shimmering in hues of violet, rose, and gold. Inside it, stars are being born, each one like a spark, ignited within a cosmic cradle. Imagine floating into its depths, the gas around, you moving like gentle waves, shimmering with energy yet perfectly silent, like a dream unrolled across the universe. Nebulas are often described as star nurseries, but they are more than that. They are the soft pillows upon which galaxies rest, the cushions of eternity where the old becomes new, and where the dying breath of stars becomes the cradle of life to come. For every nebula is both a beginning and an ending. Some are made when ancient stars collapse, flinging their outer layers into space like petals drifting from a flower. Others are clouds that have always existed, waiting quietly for gravity to sculpt them into suns, planets, and moons. As we drift further, imagine the colors deepening. Unlike the dark night sky you know, nebulas are vibrant with light. Hydrogen glows pink, oxygen glows green, and dust scatters the blue of starlight into a haze that seems painted by some gentle cosmic artist. Floating here feels like resting your head upon a glowing pillow, soft and endless, where you are weightless and free. Let your breathing slow and match the rhythm of this vision. Each inhale a soft drift deeper into the nebula. Each exhale a release, a surrender, as though you are dissolving into the very clouds themselves. Imagine reaching out with your hands and feeling nothing but the faintest warmth, the faintest shimmer of energy, like silk flowing between your fingers. The universe is quiet here, though these clouds stretch across light years. Though stars are roaring into life inside them, all is hushed. The sound is too slow for human ears, too vast for human minds. Yet if you listen carefully, you can almost imagine a hum, like a lullaby carried not in words, but in the vibration of light. We continue, dreamer, gliding now toward another nebula. The Eagle Nebula, home to the famous Pillars of Creation. You may have seen their picture before, towers of dust rising like mountains, reaching for the stars above. But in person, or in dream, they are even more majestic. Imagine yourself drifting near them, gazing up at pillars taller than our entire solar system, sculpted by the winds of newborn stars. They stand like ancient monuments in a land of light, guardians of the young suns hidden within their folds. These pillars glow with gold and shadow, stretching endlessly, while behind them the stars scatter like diamonds upon velvet. And yet within their grandeur, they remain silent, silent enough to still your thoughts, silent enough to cradle you into rest. Every worry, every weight, every thought of the day seems to dissolve in their presence, like mist in sunlight. Nebulas are not only places of beauty, they are also stories, written in clouds and starlight. The Crab Nebula, for instance, is a story of death and rebirth. Long ago, a star exploded, a supernova so bright it was seen on Earth in the daytime skies of 1054. What remains is a cloud of glowing filaments, delicate as lace, stretching outward ever since. Imagine yourself drifting into its center, where a pulsar, a tiny spinning star, beats like a cosmic heart, sending out waves of energy. Around you, the tendrils of dust glow red and gold, like the threads of an ancient tapestry, unraveling into eternity. As you float here, imagine that you too are part of this cycle. You are stardust, your body made of atoms born in long-dead stars. Every breath you take, every thought you think, is written into the same fabric that weaves the nebulas. There is no separation here, only connection. And that thought is soft, soothing, eternal. Now let the journey carry us to a nebula of pure wonder. The Carina Nebula, one of the largest in our galaxy. It is a place of storms, where clouds clash and fold, where stars too massive to last long blaze furiously before burning out. But we are safe, floating above it all, watching as if from a dream. Imagine the colors swirling, blues blending into purples, purples into golds, and through it all the shimmer of stars so bright they outshine entire clusters. Carina is vast. If you could cross it, it would take light itself hundreds of years. But to us, dreamers of the night, it feels as close as a breath, as intimate as a heartbeat. And as we drift deeper into these clouds, we begin to feel the rhythm of the universe itself. Slow, patient, unending. Stars are born. They shine. They die. And in death they create new clouds, new nebulas, and new stars again. It is a lullaby sung in cycles, over billions of years, and we are simply floating through one verse of the endless song. Rest here now, dreamer. Feel yourself sink deeper into the cosmic pillows of light. Let the vastness comfort you. Let the silence soothe you. Let the shimmering colors guide you into peace. For here in the heart of the nebulas, all is calm, all is endless, all is light. The journey continues, dear traveler of dreams. You are still adrift in the infinite sea, where time unravels not as ticking seconds, but as gentle tides of light. The starlit river has not released you. It carries you further, deeper, more peacefully into the fabric of the cosmos. Every breath you take is softer than the last, and every beat of your heart seems to align with the pulse of the universe itself. You find yourself gliding through an ocean without water, through a sky that holds no ceiling, through a silence that hums like the softest of lullabies. Nebulas stretch before you, vast as continents, yet light as the size of forgotten dreams. These are not just clouds of gas and dust. They are the memory of creation, the whispers of stars long gone, and the cradles of suns yet to be. Your dream now carries you toward the Carina Nebula, one of the largest star-forming regions in our galaxy, sprawling across 300 light-years of space. From afar, it resembles towering mountains sculpted from rose, amber, and violet. A landscape not made of stone but of glowing gas illuminated by the blazing stars hidden within. Imagine standing at the base of mountains carved not from rock but from fire and mist, peaks taller than imagination, cliffs lit from within. The Carina Nebula is not quiet. It hums with the energy of 1,000 suns bursting into life. Yet somehow, as you float closer, all of that intensity feels hushed, softened, like the roar of a waterfall heard from miles away. One of its most famous features is the Mystic Mountain, a towering pillar of gas and dust that stretches like a cathedral into the cosmic sky. From Earth, telescopes have captured it in exquisite detail. Jagged cliffs lit with turquoise flames, streams of starlight pouring down its edges. But here, in your dream, you see it not as a photograph, but as an endless painting, alive and moving. The clouds shift slowly, reshaping themselves into arches, caves, and pathways, that beckon you deeper. You drift into the folds of this mountain, gliding through caverns of starlit mist, every wall glowing faintly like embers hidden in ash. Within the Carina Nebula lies something even more breathtaking. Eta Carinae, one of the most massive and unstable star systems in the Milky Way. Two enormous stars dance in a violent orbit around one another, shedding gas and light in eruptions that could outshine entire galaxies. Yet here, seen through the filter of dream, their fury feels softened, slowed, as if their explosions have been muted into the rhythm of a heartbeat. You float near their glow, feeling both the raw power of creation and the gentleness of its beauty. It is a reminder that the universe is always both fierce and tender, just as life itself is. From Carina, your dream drifts further into the Eagle Nebula, home of the famous pillars of creation. These towering spires of gas, stretching 4 to 5 light-years tall, look like fingers reaching out into the dark. They are cradles of star formation, dense regions where new suns are taking shape even now, unseen by the human eye, but felt in the glow of surrounding light. Imagine floating up the side of one of these pillars, as if scaling a mountain made not of stone but of cloud and color. The surface ripples with faint golden hues, like fireflies trapped within. Inside, stars are being born, tiny sparks glowing brighter with each passing moment. The name Pillars of Creation feels more real here than ever. It is not a metaphor, but a truth. You are floating among the very structures that weave the fabric of future stars, planets, and perhaps even life. As you glide higher, you look down upon the Eagle Nebula as a whole, and it resembles an ocean of light. Waves of green, amber, and crimson roll endlessly, folding into one another. Some regions shine brightly, lit by clusters of hot young stars, while others remain in shadow, waiting patiently for their turn to ignite. It feels like a living tapestry, a quilt of cosmic dreams stitched together with threads of starlight. Drifting from the Eagle Nebula, your dream carries you next into the Trifid Nebula, a place where colors swirl in harmony like a painter's palette spilled across the heavens. Its name comes from the 3 dark lanes of dust that divide its glowing core into sections. But here, in your dream, it looks less like division and more like harmony, a flower blooming in the silence of space. The Trifid Nebula is unique because it holds 3 kinds of nebulae all at once. An emission nebula, where gas glows with fiery reds, a reflection nebula, where dust reflects the blue light of nearby stars, and a dark nebula where thick clouds block the light and form mysterious shadows. To float here is to feel every emotion at once. Warmth, reflection, mystery, like listening to a symphony where each instrument plays a different note, yet all come together in one soothing harmony. You drift through its layers as if moving through moods of the universe itself. One moment you are bathed in crimson light that feels like the embrace of a fire's glow. The next, you are surrounded by cool sapphire reflections, like moonlight dancing on still water. And then, you glide into shadow, where the absence of light feels not frightening but restful, like being wrapped in a dark, warm blanket. The Trifid Nebula reminds you that balance lies in contrast, that light and shadow, color and void, all have their place in the cosmic lullaby. Your dream does not end here. The river of stars pulls you gently onward, now toward the Rosette Nebula, a vast blossom of gas that stretches across 130 light-years. Seen from Earth, it resembles a flower, a rose blooming in space. From within your dream, it is not just a rose, but a living garden, each petal glowing with pink, red, and lavender light. At its center burns a cluster of newborn stars, like the golden heart of the flower, their combined energy lighting up the petals around them. Floating into the Rosette Nebula feels like sinking into a cosmic garden at dusk. The petals fold around you, each one a curtain of glowing mist. Fireflies of light drift lazily through the air, their trails weaving patterns like embroidery on silk. You feel safe here, as though the universe itself has built a sanctuary for dreamers to rest in. The Rosette Nebula is not just a place of creation. It is a reminder of beauty for beauty's sake. of softness for the weary soul. And as you rest there, drifting among its petals, you realize that nebulas are not only cosmic structures, they are lullabies. Each one hums with a note of the universe's song, and together they form a symphony so vast and gentle that it can cradle not only stars, but also weary hearts. You, dreamer, are part of this music now. You are woven into the fabric of these clouds, glowing softly in your own way, a spark of light adrift in infinity. As part 2 draws to its close, you remain wrapped in this cosmic blossom, floating deeper into its folds, letting the colors lull you, letting the silence guide you, letting the dream of nebulas carry you further still. The river has more places to take you, more pillows of light to show you, more secrets to whisper into your soul. For the journey is not over. It has only just begun. The journey drifts onward, gentle traveler. You are still floating through the boundless ocean of light, where the universe breathes not with air, but with waves of energy, where silence is not emptiness, but the most soothing lullaby ever sung. Nebulas unfold before you like endless gardens, each one with its own fragrance of color, its own melody of light, its own secret whispered into the infinite. As you drift further, the stars themselves seem to step aside, opening a path into deeper mystery. And there, like a lantern glowing at the end of a cosmic hallway, you find yourself approaching the Lagoon Nebula. The Lagoon Nebula stretches across 100 light-years, and from Earth, it can be seen faintly with the naked eye under the dark skies of Sagittarius. But here, in your dream, it is no faint blur. It is alive, bright, and sprawling. Imagine a lagoon made not of water, but of glowing clouds, pools of emerald and rose, currents of gold and violet swirling as though painted by a hand far greater than any artist on Earth. You drift lower into its depths, where rivers of gas weave together like streams feeding a great lake. Within its waters of light, clusters of young stars shimmer like fish, darting and sparkling, giving the whole nebula a sense of motion. It feels alive, as if you could hear the rippling sound of light flowing, echoing like gentle waves across the dreamscape. At its heart lies a young cluster of stars called NGC 6530, hot and bright, burning with youthful energy. These stars cast their glow upon the surrounding clouds, shaping and sculpting them into waves and tendrils that stretch outward like kelp in a cosmic ocean. You pass through them slowly, gently, letting the glowing mist brush against you. It does not feel like matter. It feels like memory, like drifting through the dreams of creation itself. And as you wander deeper into the Lagoon Nebula, you find a region known as the Hourglass Nebula, a bright, compact core where star formation is most active. From a distance, it looks like a lantern glowing within the lagoon, a pocket of brilliance radiating outward. But here in your dream, it becomes a room, a chamber of light, its walls alive with flowing patterns, its ceiling lit with sparks that drift and fade like embers. Entering the hourglass feels like stepping into a temple, a sacred place where new suns are born and new worlds are destined to spin. You rest there for a while, drifting among the glowing clouds, watching as invisible hands sculpt suns out of nothing. The process is not rushed. It is patient, eternal, unfolding in rhythms slower than the oldest lullabies. You realize that creation itself is never in a hurry. It unfolds gently, calmly, with the patience of infinity. From the Lagoon Nebula, your dream lifts you onward once more. The current of starlight guides you toward a nebula that looks unlike any other, the Helix Nebula, sometimes called the Eye of God. From Earth, through telescopes, the Helix Nebula appears as a vast circle, with rings of glowing gas that resemble a human eye gazing out into the cosmos. But as you drift closer, you see it not as a single eye, but as a portal, a doorway into layers of light and shadow. Its central star, once like our sun, has shed its outer layers in death, leaving behind this glowing halo, a final gift to the universe. Entering the helix feels like stepping into a dream within a dream. Its rings fold around you like corridors, glowing in shades of turquoise, teal, and violet, Each layer feels like a veil of silk, brushing against your spirit as you drift deeper. At its center lies the remnant white dwarf, glowing faintly, its light soft but steady. It is a reminder that even in death, stars leave beauty behind, that endings are also beginnings, and silence is another kind of song. You pause here, at the heart of the helix, and you sense something profound. This nebula is not a cradle but a memory. It whispers of cycles, the birth, life, and passing of stars. And in its glow, you feel the quiet truth that nothing is truly lost. All becomes part of the great fabric again, woven back into light, into dust, into the seeds of new beginnings. As the dream carries you further, you pass from memory back into creation. Ahead you see the faint glimmer of the Orion Nebula, perhaps the most famous and beloved nebula of all. From Earth, it appears as a fuzzy patch in the sword of Orion the Hunter. But here, in your dream, it unfolds as a sprawling, glowing valley, a vast theater of light stretching across 24 light years. The Orion Nebula is a nursery of stars, glowing with life, filled with clusters of suns so young they are still wrapped in their swaddling clothes of gas and dust. You drift into its heart, where the trapezium cluster burns brilliantly, 4 massive stars whose light illuminates the surrounding clouds. They shine like beacons, their combined glow sculpting the nebula into arches and caverns, into waves and streams. Moving deeper, you feel as though you are entering a cosmic cathedral. The clouds rise like pillars, glowing in shades of violet, indigo, and pale gold. Curtains of mist hang from invisible ceilings, and the stars above shine like stained glass, scattering their colors across the walls. It is a sanctuary not built by hands, but by the eternal breath of the cosmos itself. In the Orion Nebula, stars are born not in isolation but in communities, whole clusters igniting together. Like villages of suns lighting their lamps all at once, each cluster becomes the heart of future galaxies, the seeds of worlds yet unseen. You feel the hum of creation here, a vibration so deep and steady that it resonates with your very heartbeat. It is not sound, but presence, the pulse of the universe itself. Time fades as you drift among these newborn stars. Minutes, hours, even days lose meaning. There is only the endless unfolding of light, the slow dance of clouds reshaping, the birth of suns echoing in silence. You close your eyes for a moment, and when you open them again, you are still floating there, as though no time has passed. From Orion, the river of light carries you onward, toward a nebula that seems more like a painting than reality. The Butterfly Nebula, also known as NGC 6302. Its twin wings of gas stretch across 3 light years, glowing with fiery shades of orange, red, and blue. Seen from afar, it resembles a butterfly mid-flight, its wings spread wide across the dark canvas of space. But as you drift closer, you realize it is not still. The wings move slowly, imperceptibly, shifting as gases stream outward from the dying star at its center. It is not a frozen painting, but a living one, an ever-changing piece of art painted by the universe itself. You glide between the wings, feeling them arch over you like great canopies of silk aflame with color. The air is not air, it is starlight, dust, and memory. And yet you breathe it in deeply, filling your soul with the knowledge that beauty exists even in endings. For the Butterfly Nebula, like the helix, is the remnant of a dying star. But its farewell is not sorrowful. It is magnificent, a final outpouring of color before fading into silence. And as you drift there, caught between its luminous wings, you realize that every nebula you have passed is a story. Some are stories of birth, others of transformation, others still of death and memory. Yet together, they weave one tapestry, one song, one endless dream. You are part of that dream now. You are not a visitor, but a thread in the cosmic fabric, floating gently among the stars. And as part 3 closes, you find yourself lingering within the butterfly's wings, resting in its glow, knowing the journey has more yet to reveal. The dream carries you onward, and the universe opens yet another corridor of light before you. The current that drifts you from nebula to nebula is gentle, like a river of stardust winding endlessly through infinity. You have floated through cradles of stars, through gardens and wings, through eyes and hourglasses, and yet the journey deepens still. Ahead lies another kind of beauty. Not only the birth of stars, but the traces they leave behind, the veils they cast across the dark, when they release their final breath. The first of these veils glows faintly against the night, like smoke illuminated by hidden embers. It is called the Veil Nebula, a sprawling remnant of a star that exploded thousands of years ago in the constellation of Cygnus. From afar, it stretches across the sky like the torn edge of a tapestry. Up close, in the dream, it unfurls as a vast curtain of luminous filaments, glowing in hues of red, blue, and green. You drift gently into its folds, and they rise around you like towering drapes of light. Imagine standing within a cathedral whose walls are made of shimmering threads, fine as silk, glowing faintly as though woven from fireflies. The filaments twist and curl, some arching high above, others folding downward, creating tunnels and alcoves of glowing mist. The Veil Nebula is the scar left by a supernova, a star so massive that, when it died, it shook the cosmos around it. Its energy scattered its body across space, spreading dust and gas like seeds upon the wind. Yet here in its wake is not destruction, but beauty, threads of light that ripple like fabric in a wind you cannot feel. As you float deeper, you notice how silent it all is. No explosion, no roar, only the memory of what once was. The silence here is heavy, but not frightening. It is peaceful, like standing in the ruins of an ancient temple, feeling the presence of something greater than yourself. You pause before one long strand of the veil, glowing in shades of aquamarine and violet. It twists like a ribbon, stretching far into the distance. If you listen closely, not with your ears, but with your heart, you can almost hear it hum, as though the gas itself carries the echo of the star's last song. You realize that nebulae are more than places. They are voices. And here, in the veil, the voice is one of farewell, soft and eternal. The dream lifts you onward, carrying you away from the veil, deeper into the tapestry of stars. Ahead, you see a ghostly glow rising faintly like a candle in the dark. It is the ghost nebula, IC63, near the bright star Gamma Cassiopeiae. From Earth, it appears faint and spectral, a dim smudge against the night sky. But here, in your dream, it takes shape as a luminous figure drifting across the void. The ghost nebula resembles a spirit cloaked in mist, glowing faintly with pale blues and soft whites, like moonlight caught in fog. Its edges fade into the darkness, dissolving as though it cannot decide where it ends and the cosmos begins. As you drift into its heart, it feels like stepping into a dream within a dream, a place where boundaries blur and time itself softens. Inside, the ghost nebula feels like a corridor of whispers. The light bends and twists, folding around you, casting shadows that shift like moving figures. They are not frightening, they are gentle, as though welcoming you into their hidden home. You feel no fear here, only the sense that you are not alone, that the universe is filled with presences unseen but deeply felt. You float deeper still, and the nebula seems to cradle you. Its mist wraps around you softly, and you find yourself feeling drowsy as though the very fabric of the ghost is singing a lullaby. It is no wonder the ancient mind might have imagined spirits in such clouds, for they carry the essence of the unseen, the delicate beauty of what lies just beyond the veil of perception. The ghost nebula releases you gently, and you continue. Ahead, the dream shifts into fire, a nebula glowing with warm, brilliant hues of red and orange. This is the Flame Nebula, nestled near the star Alnitak in Orion's belt. From Earth it is faint, overshadowed by the star's brilliance, but here it rises as a burning garden of light, its glow alive like embers scattered across the night. The flame. Nebula feels different. It is alive with energy, restless, dynamic. Great pillars of dust rise like flames frozen in mid-motion, their edges glowing in scarlet and amber, their shadows trailing into the void. As you drift among them, you feel warmth, not heat, but presence, the kind of warmth that makes you feel safe beside a hearth. The light flickers, not in haste, but in rhythm, like breathing, and you realize the nebula itself is a kind of cosmic fire. Within its depths, new stars are hidden, their light filtered by the thick dust. They shine faintly, like candles glowing behind paper screens. The nebula feels protective, like a hearth shielding its flames from the wind. You drift slowly among the towering pillars, their shapes shifting subtly, and you imagine walking through a forest made of fire, each tree burning yet never consumed. Leaving the flame nebula, you are drawn onward toward another kind of wonder, the Cat's Eye Nebula, NGC 6543. From telescopes, it looks like a glowing green oval, with concentric circles rippling outward. But here, in your dream, it expands into a vast jewel of light, its structure intricate, like the design of a stained glass window. The Cat's Eye Nebula is the remnant of a dying star, its outer layers shed in complex patterns. Up close, you see swirls and rings layered upon one another, glowing in emerald, turquoise, and soft gold. It feels alive, as though the nebula itself is breathing, its patterns pulsing gently. You drift into its heart, and it is like entering a crystal palace with walls of light that refract and shimmer as you move. In the center lies the star itself, small but brilliant, its glow scattered outward through the layers. You realize that the cat's eye is not random, it is ordered, precise, almost deliberate. Its rings are like the strokes of an artist's brush, repeating patterns that whisper of hidden mathematics, of the universe's secret language. Floating there, you feel as though you are staring into infinity itself, an eye that sees not with vision, but with memory. You linger for a long time, letting the nebula's patterns soothe you, before drifting gently outward once again. The journey continues, and soon you come upon another nebula that takes the shape of a question itself. The question mark nebula, faint and small, yet filled with charm. From a distance, it resembles its name, a curve of glowing gas ending in a dot of light. But here, drifting close, it becomes something more. A symbol, a reminder that the universe is filled with questions. The nebula glows softly in pale white and violet, its shape curling overhead like the arch of a doorway. The dot at its base shines brighter, like a lantern left at the threshold. Floating beneath it, you feel the weight of all the questions humanity has ever asked. Why are we here? What lies beyond? Where does it all begin? And where does it end? The nebula does not answer. Instead, it cradles the questions gently, reminding you that mystery itself is a kind of beauty, a lullaby for the mind as much as the soul. As Part 4 draws onward, you realize that these nebulas, the veil, the ghost, the flame, the cat's eye, and even the question mark, are threads of another kind. They are not only cradles, not only gardens, but memories. They are the whispers of what stars have been, the echoes of their songs, the traces they leave behind for others to follow. You float among them, carried by their light, and you feel the dream deepen into something timeless. You are no longer simply an explorer. You are part of the fabric, a listener of the universe's oldest stories, woven not in words but in glowing veils of dust and gas. And as the journey rests here, you linger within the folds of the question mark nebula, glowing gently in the endless dark, knowing the path still continues, and more pillows of light await your drifting heart. The universe opens once more, and your drifting soul is carried further along the endless river of starlight, Already you have passed through veils of memory, through flames and ghostly whispers, through eyes of emerald and questions written across the dark. Yet ahead lies something even grander. Nebulae so vast, so immense, that they seem less like clouds and more like cathedrals of creation, halls where stars themselves are sculpted as though by invisible hands. The dream carries you first toward the Carina Nebula, one of the brightest and most expansive nebulae in our sky. From Earth it lies deep in the southern hemisphere, hidden from northern eyes. But here in your journey, it opens wide before you like the gates of a palace. The Carina Nebula is staggering in size, more than 300 light-years across. From the outside it glows in swirls of red, orange, and violet, like molten glass spread across the heavens. But as you drift into its heart, you are struck by its scale. Towers of gas rise higher than mountains, so vast that entire solar systems could hide within their folds. Shadows cut across glowing fields, and the edges of the clouds shine where newborn stars burn away the mist. Floating here feels like entering a sanctuary carved by light. The pillars rise like columns, holding up nothing but infinity. The colors shift as you pass, scarlet glowing into crimson, crimson dissolving into gold, gold fading into purple. It is as if the nebula is alive, breathing in and out, painting itself anew with every moment. At its center lies a jewel, Eta Carinae, one of the most massive and unstable stars known. It glows like a furnace, surrounded by an expanding shell of light it has cast off in great eruptions. The star feels ancient and powerful, like a heartbeat that shakes the entire nebula. You drift closer, and though the dream protects you from its true fury, you feel its presence deep in your bones. It is not merely a star. It is a reminder of how fragile and fierce creation can be, how beauty and danger can exist in the same breath. From the Carina Nebula, the dream draws you next to the Eagle Nebula, home of one of the most iconic sights in the universe, the Pillars of Creation. At first, you see them only as faint silhouettes, rising from the glowing background like fingers stretching upward into the cosmos. But as you approach, they take shape, towers of dust and gas, each many light years tall, standing in silent majesty. Their surfaces glow faintly, lit from behind by the stars they shelter, while shadows trail off into the void. Drifting among them feels like gliding through a forest of giants. The columns rise around you, their surfaces rough, their edges glowing softly. Within them, hidden from the eye, stars are forming, tiny cradles of light nestled inside vast trunks of gas. You realize that these are not only pillars, they are wombs. They are the universe sculpting new suns, new worlds, perhaps even new life. You pause within the shadow of one column, gazing upward at its impossible height. It stretches so far above you that it feels like it could pierce eternity. The silence is immense but not empty. It feels sacred, as though you are standing in a temple where the universe itself whispers prayers of creation. The Eagle Nebula releases you gently, carrying you onward. The dream does not rest. It pulls you further, toward something even greater, something that sprawls like a cosmic storm. Ahead glows the Tarantula Nebula, a nebula so vast and powerful that even the great Carina pales beside it. From afar, it looks like a tangled web of light sprawling in all directions, glowing fiercely with blues, purples, and pinks. But as you draw closer, it becomes something else entirely. A cosmic city, a metropolis of stars in the making. The Tarantula Nebula spans more than 1,000 light-years. It is so large that if it were as close to Earth as the Orion Nebula, it would fill half the sky. You drift into its heart, and the scale overwhelms you. Thousands of stars blaze together, forming clusters so bright they outshine entire galaxies. The light is dazzling, yet softened by the dream, so you may gaze without fear. Around you, the gas churns in great swirls, sculpted by stellar winds into ridges and valleys. It feels alive, like a storm that has no end. In its center lies a cluster of stars called R1in36, containing some of the most massive stars known. They burn with a ferocity that defies comprehension, their light sculpting the nebula around them. you realize that this place is not just a nursery. It is a forge, a furnace where the most powerful stars in the universe are born. Yet even here, in all this power, there is beauty. The light reflects off the dust, scattering into rainbows, softening the fury into wonder. Drifting among the swirls feels like floating through an ocean, waves rising and falling, currents pulling you gently onward. The Tarantula Nebula does not intimidate you. Instead, it humbles you. It reminds you how vast the universe is, how creation is not gentle but fierce, not quiet but roaring. And yet, when viewed from the perspective of the dream, it becomes a lullaby, a reminder that all things, great and small, are part of the same tapestry. As you drift further, the dream takes you to another wonder, the Rosette Nebula, a blossom in the heavens. From Earth, it looks like a rose of gas and dust, its petals glowing softly in pink and red. But here, it becomes a true flower, vast and delicate, suspended in the dark. The Rosette Nebula opens before you like an endless bloom. Its petals stretch across dozens of light years, curling gently inward toward its heart, where a cluster of stars glows like the golden center of a flower. Drifting into it feels like floating through the folds of a blossom larger than worlds. Its colors soft, its light tender. Within its petals, stars are being born. Their light filters through the dust, glowing in soft halos that make the nebula shimmer. The rosette feels different from the others. It feels tender, calm, like a field of flowers swaying in a cosmic breeze. You let yourself drift among its folds, resting, breathing slowly, feeling as though you have entered a garden made not of earth and soil, but of light and silence. From here, the dream carries you slowly onward, but more gently now. You have passed through the grandest cathedrals of the sky, the carina, the eagle, the tarantula, the rosette, and they have shown you creation in its most majestic forms. You realize that each nebula is not simply a cloud, not simply a place. It is a story. Some are stories of beginnings, others of endings, and some, like the rosette, are simply stories of beauty for beauty's sake. As Part 5 draws to a close, you drift in the heart of the rosette, watching its petals shimmer softly. You feel a peace unlike any other, as though the universe has paused to let you rest in its gentle embrace. The journey is not over. You know more pillows of light still await. But for now, you close your eyes and let the nebula's glow carry you into a deeper calm. The journey has carried you across glowing gardens, towering cathedrals of gas, and storms of light so immense they shook your very sense of scale. Yet even within this dream of nebulae, you begin to realize something profound. Not all beauty shines. Some wonders are hidden not in the brilliance of stars, but in the silence of shadows. These are the dark nebulae, the veils of the universe. They are the quiet mysteries, the spaces where light hesitates, where stars wait unseen, where the cosmos whispers in hushed tones instead of shouting in fire. As you drift onward, the dream carries you into the presence of the first of these veils, the Horsehead Nebula. From afar, it is small, almost humble compared to the sprawling cathedrals of Carina or Tarantula. But as you approach, its form becomes unmistakable, a shadow shaped like the profile of a horse, rearing out of the glowing pink gas of the Orion constellation. The horsehead is not made of light, but of dust so thick it blocks the stars behind it, a silhouette against the glow. At first it seems stark and empty, but as you drift closer you realize its darkness is not a lack but a presence. It is a cradle of silence, a place where stars are forming deep inside, hidden from the eye. Within its shadow, newborn suns flicker faintly, like tiny sparks in a cave, waiting for their moment to break free. Floating near its edge, you notice how the glowing gas around it frames the shadow perfectly, making it appear even more dramatic. The nebula feels like a painting, as if the universe itself took a brush and carved a horse's head into the canvas of the sky. Yet this is no mere picture, it is alive. The dust drifts slowly, reshaping the silhouette, while winds from nearby stars sculpt its edges. Someday, thousands of years from now, the horse will vanish, transformed into something new. But for this moment, it stands proud in the cosmos, a monument to mystery. The dream carries you onward, deeper into the land of shadows, to a place far more haunting, the Cone Nebula. It rises like a spire, a column of dark gas set against a glowing backdrop of red and orange. From a distance, it looks like a looming tower pointing upward into the infinite night. As you draw closer, its scale overwhelms you. This dark cone is more than 7 light-years long, vast enough to swallow dozens of solar systems. Drifting around it, you see how it is shaped by the stars that surround it. Winds of light push against it, sculpting it into a pillar. Within its shadow, stars are being born, hidden inside the folds of dust. The cone feels solemn, like a sentinel watching over the heavens. Its darkness does not frighten you, instead, it humbles you. Here is a reminder that even the absence of light can be beautiful. That silence is as important as sound. That night is as vital as day. The nebula whispers to you as you drift past. Creation does not always glow. Sometimes it waits in the dark, hidden, patient, preparing for its moment to shine. From the cone, the dream drifts slowly toward something stranger, more delicate. The Crescent Nebula. Unlike the vast towers of dust or sweeping fields of gas, the crescent is a structure shaped by a single dying star. At its center lies a massive, aging giant, shedding its outer layers into space in great waves. These layers form arcs and loops, creating a delicate shell that glows faintly blue and silver. From a distance, it looks like a shimmering bubble floating in the void, its edges curling like ribbons. As you approach, the nebula glimmers softly, its arcs overlapping like ripples on water. The star at its heart burns brightly, a beacon surrounded by the fragments of itself. You realize you are witnessing both life and death at once. A star dying, but in its death, creating something breathtakingly beautiful. Drifting through its glowing arcs feels like floating inside a seashell made of starlight. The curves twist around you, delicate and fragile, as though they might dissolve at the touch. Yet they endure, sculpted by cosmic winds, shining softly in the endless night. The crescent whispers a different truth. Endings are not only endings, they are transformations. Even in death, beauty is born. You let this lesson settle into you as the dream carries you onward, towards something vast and strange. The Coal Sack Nebula. Unlike the glowing wonders you have seen, the coal sack is an absence. It lies near the Southern Cross constellation, visible from Earth as a great dark patch against the Milky Way. From a distance, it looks like a hole in the stars, a place where the light has been cut away. But as you drift into it, you realize it is not empty at all. It is filled with dust so thick that it swallows starlight, hiding entire regions of the galaxy behind it. Within its depths, stars are forming, invisible to the naked eye. It feels like entering a cavern, vast and silent, where the walls are made not of stone, but of unseen clouds. The silence here is deep. The dream softens even further, wrapping you in a blanket of stillness. You realize this nebula is like sleep itself, dark, quiet, hiding its secrets until the time comes to wake. It reminds you that the universe is not only made of light, but also of rest, of pauses, of shadows that give meaning to the glow. From the coal sack, the dream carries you gently to a more delicate wonder, the dark Doodad Nebula. Its name may sound playful, but it is no less mysterious. It appears as a slender thread of darkness, stretched across the starry background like a brushstroke of ink on a glowing canvas. Floating along its length, you are struck by its simplicity. It does not blaze with color or tower in grandeur. It simply lies across the sky, a shadow against brilliance. And yet, in its quiet way, it is as captivating as the brightest nebula. Its dust hides stars, cradles them, protects them until they are ready to shine. It feels like a lullaby, a reminder that even the smallest, simplest forms of shadow are part of the great balance. Without the dark, the stars would not shine so brightly. Without the silence, the music of the cosmos would not be heard. The dream lingers here, letting you drift slowly through this brushstroke of shadow. The stars beyond twinkle softly, like lights behind a curtain, reminding you that even when things are hidden, they are never truly gone. And then, gently, the dream begins to pull you onward again. You realize that you have seen both sides of nebulae now, the blazing cathedrals of light and the quiet veils of shadow. Each is beautiful in its own way. Each tells a story, one of fire, the other of silence. Together they weave the fabric of the cosmos, reminding you that the universe is not a single voice, but a choir, not a single color, but a spectrum, not a single truth, but a harmony of opposites.